So my friend had a sister that was a year older than us, and I had met her before I met him. Like 2 months before I met him, me and her met, believe it or not, on a dating app, and we started flirting a little bit, and we were just kind of like friendly. And then when I met him, I realized that they were related, and I immediately stopped flirting with her altogether, and so did she with me. Like, we both knew that would be weird, because then it would complicate me and my friend's friendship. And luckily, it didn't make things awkward. I would go over there all the time, hang out with my friend, and me and her were still friends. Like, it wasn't a big deal whatsoever. So anyway, yeah, back to the main story, okay? I'm at my friend's house. There's a bunch of us there. And pretty much everybody passes out before me. Now, of course, like always, I had a really, really bad sleep schedule. Like, I would just go to sleep in the morning and sleep all day. So I knew that I would be up all night and that I wasn't sleeping anytime soon. So I decide I'm gonna go in the living room and watch a movie or something. So I go downstairs, I put a movie on, and I'm just sitting on the couch watching this movie by myself in my friend's living room. And I'm watching this movie, and all of a sudden I hear, hey. And I look to my right, and it's my friend's sister. And she was like, what are you doing out here? I was like, I can't sleep. Everyone passed out. Like, I'm not going to be able to sleep anytime soon, so I just came out here to watch this movie. And she was like, all right, cool. Like, you mind if I watch with you? I'm like, yeah, for sure. So she walks over, she sits down next to me, and we're just watching this movie. Now, like 20 minutes into her sitting down next to me, all of a sudden, I feel something tickling on my hand, and I look, and she's grabbing my hand slowly. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, all right, it's my friend's sister. Probably shouldn't be holding hands with this girl. But at the same time, that's not disrespectful, like holding her hand, like it's not like I'm doing anything wrong. So I just let it happen. That was mistake number one. Now from there, things just kind of progressed. She went over and grabbed a blanket. She threw it over us. And from there, things just kind of went further. I'm not going to go into huge detail about it because this isn't some 50 Shades of Grey YouTube love story, okay? Just long story short, me and her hooked up. Alright, now after we did and the movie ended, she was like, hey, like, I don't think we should tell my brother about this. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And she was like, alright, cool, glad we agree. And then after that, she said she was going to bed, we said goodnight, and she went up to her room, and I was just sitting in the living room. I put another movie on, but I wasn't watching the movie. I was just sitting there thinking. I was like, dude, I can't believe that I just probably ruined a friendship with one of my best friends. And I just kept thinking about it, and I'd be like, oh, well, he won't find out, no big deal. But then I would go back and forth and just be like, oh, but like, I don't want to lie to him. So I tried to stop thinking about it and just watch another movie, and I ended up passing out on the couch. And I wake up next morning to the smell of breakfast, and all my friends are in the kitchen talking, making breakfast together. And for a minute, I was just really, really happy. And then I realized the night before everything that happened, and I was like, oh, shit. So I got up, went to the kitchen, said hello to my friends, had some breakfast with them, and me just being awkward and not feeling right, I was like, yo guys, I'm gonna head out back to my house. And my friends were like, alright, cool. So I left and I walked home, which took like 45 minutes. My friend was like, yo, you wanna ride? I'm like, nah, I just wanna walk. So I walked home. They probably all knew that something was up with me. And I went back to my house, and I'm just sitting there in my room playing video games, trying to not think about life. And all of a sudden, I look down at my phone, and there's a text from my friend. And it's a pretty long text. Like, it's the kind of text where you see it, and you see how long it is without even reading it, and you're like, oh no. So I knew immediately. I'm like, yep, he found out. And it starts off by saying, hey man, just so you know, I went downstairs last night to go to the bathroom, and I saw you and my sister on the couch together. And when I read that, I was like, oh no, like this is about to get so bad. Like, he's mad. It just seemed really serious. But as I went on to read it, it was completely different than what I thought. He was like, yo, just so you know, like, if you and my sister go on to have some sort of romantic connection, like, you're my boy. I know how you treat people. You would treat her right. Like, as long as you don't do her wrong, you're not doing me wrong, man. So please don't stress this whatsoever. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, yo, how is this dude so cool with this? So I replied to him, and I was like, whoa, man, like, didn't expect this. I really thought you would hate me. Like, thank you so much for being understanding. And I basically went on to tell him that I would never disrespect his sister. And we pretty much just talked about it for a sec, and that was the end of it. Like, we never talked further about it. And me and his sister never progressed into, like, a relationship or anything. Me and her both didn't want a relationship at the time. So, yeah, in the end, everything was totally okay, which shocked me.